Color grading, color correction, and color timing. These are terms you've probably heard for a while now, and they're all interconnected. But the art and science of color is a fascinating topic whose basics you should learn before diving deep. One thing to know from the start is that color grading and color correction, while essentially using the same tools, have different goals. Grading generally refers to the creative choices a colorist makes, often with input from a director, to stylize or enhance the video or film. Correction is just that. It is a correction of video for white balance, contrast, exposure, or it's to match different cameras that have slightly different color renditions. Every camera has a bias towards certain colors, and unifying shots between different cameras is important when working on any project. There are many tools the colorist must use to not only make changes, but to also know if the changes they're making are accurate. We'll start with your grading software. These days you can find capable correction tools built into your nonlinear editor, such as Adobe's Lumetri color filter. There's also Adobe SpeedGrade, Autodesk Luster, and perhaps the most common tool, Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve. We'll be using the free Resolve Lite for our examples. The paid version allows you to use hardware control interfaces as well to more tangibly make adjustments. A powerful computer is of course required to run the program, but what's often overlooked is an accurate monitor. On the entry level, you at least want a monitor that can cover the entire sRGB/Rec. 709 color space. On the more professional and high-end levels, however, you'll want a monitor that can also cover the DCI P3 color space, which is what's used for theatrical cinema projection. Now, most programs and even nonlinear editors have built-in image analysis tools such as histograms, waveform monitors, and vector scopes, but getting dedicated hardware versions of these tools is also an option. Not only are these fundamental to color correction, but they're some of the most commonly used tools in broadcast production, so they're well worth understanding how to use. Lastly, you'll probably need various signal converters and secondary or even tertiary monitors to see your graded output in various forms. All that said, you can still learn how to operate the software and learn how the various toggles and dials work before investing in a more advanced system. When you first get started with your grade, it's very easy to go overboard and grade your image in an exaggerated or thoughtless way. If your film is going to have a look, ask yourself why. Why do you want to increase the contrast? Does a desaturated or oversaturated appearance benefit the video in any way? Or are you simply doing it because you can? A popular look in blockbuster films is the orange and teal palette, which uses the basic idea of complementary colors to push skin tones into orange and shadows into teal. Because the look is so popular, it's very tempting for a beginner to grade this way when it doesn't suit the content at all. On a similar note, color grading is subjective. Color correction certainly does have a proper way to go about it, but grading is a very subjective art form that relies on intent and control of the grading suite. Maybe you want to make that morning scene a bit more golden. What is correct often starts during production. If you're involved in the kind of project where you might handle production and post-production roles as colorist, or you double as a DIT on set, you should be fully involved with the camera department to make sure your exposure is consistent. Remember, color correction has come a long way, but once the detail is gone, it's gone. Everyone needs to know some technical terms too though, and the three you should definitely know going into this are log, raw, and Rec. 709. Log video is normally recorded video with what can be called a flatter color profile. Essentially, the entire dynamic range of a camera is squeezed into the limited space offered by video formats, requiring manual color correction or what's known as a LUT or lookup table to expand it back out to a normal range. The advantage of this is that you are allowed to bring down highlights, increase shadows, and manipulate much more of the tonal detail. However, you're still limited by the fact that the image has already been recorded in a standard video format. That brings us to RAW. If you've ever shot RAW on a DSLR or other still camera, you'll know that RAW is the actual light data as captured by the camera's sensor before being converted to a video format. What this means is that aspects such as white balance can be very finely tuned. ISOs can be adjusted after capture, and you have even more control over the highlights, midtones, and shadows. Because it's literally raw data, you also have the advantage of the camera's full bit depth. But these two formats ultimately, in most cases, get graded for and reduced to a much more common format, Rec. 709. Rec. 709 is the standard color space by which most HD video is recorded and displayed. Your televisions, Blu-ray discs, and the majority of non-cinema cameras operate in Rec. 709. There are new standards on their way as we speak, including Rec. 2020 and the previously mentioned DCI P3, so things are likely to shake up as technology evolves. Color grading is one of the trickiest topics in filmmaking, but don't let that discourage you. We live in an age where you can mold and shape an image in ways that simply were not possible 10 to 15 years ago, not to mention that even 5 years ago, the costs of doing so were dramatically higher. Remember, many of these tools and concepts are already in your camera and editing software, so if you haven't tried color grading yet, there's never been a better time to start. This is Doug with B&H. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.